Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. This is Rocken and Larry Locken coming to you the west coast of North America. I'm joined tonight, of course, by my lovely co-host, Ravishing Raquel Toombs, 9 hours up the coast in the beautiful city of Vancouver, British Columbia. We wanted to talk tonight about how many people are actually in the process of awakening and are actually developing more fear because of the fact that they are looking outside and asking others everything, asking others for advice, questions, when really they need to be seeking this within and doing their own research. This process is about freeing ourselves from our conditioning and moving beyond the old paradigm. We are children and have been given a brand new start, yet continue the conditioning, yet continue to be conditioned the way society wants us to be, and we're stuck in those old patterns, and it's really dreadfully wrong. It kind of defeats the whole purpose of this awakening movement and this awakening process. And Raquel Toombs in Vancouver, BC, sweetie, how are you? It's good to be back again. Well, actually, it's good for me to be back again and hear you. So, and what's been going on? More technical difficulties. Raquel, can you hear me? Raquel Toombs in Vancouver, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello, there you
Yeah.
are. I think I was muting you. You were muting me and all that good stuff. Raquel Toombs up in the great city of Vancouver, British Columbia, just north of the Canadian border. What's going on, girl?
Woohoo! Major buzzing. My whole body's tingling and buzzing, and major frequency changes and light noise, and oh my gosh, the energy's just intense tonight. Ow! Full moon.
Oh, I heard that shit. Yeah, I guess it is a full moon. Of course, it's raining and pouring here on the Oregon coast. The rain's let up a little bit, and 9 hours up the coast from me. How's it going for you? Has it cleared up a little bit, or is the moon still
Well,
being hidden by the clouds, or what's the deal?
yeah, it's a bit cloudy. It's not raining, which is nice, but I can't see the moon yet. I took some pictures last night. They turned out really neat, but yeah, hopefully I'll see it in maybe a couple hours. Maybe the clouds will clear and yeah, get the full force of the moon.
No, I agree, and usually that's what ends up happening here on the West Coast. It ends up clearing by the time midnight approaches or a little before, and I heard from our correspondent in Tijuana that their forecast was scheduled to be shitty and pissy. So I guess we're doing pretty good up here with the possibility of a full moon. But getting into our topic, we had discussed this earlier, and I think that in the past few days, of course, Mercury retrograde's been kicking my ass, so I really haven't been on Facebook as much as I would like to have been or should have been. But talking about this fear that some of us starseeds have, and I think that you and I as admins, we see it a lot in the groups with people asking these questions, and it just seems like there's a tone when people are acting out of fear to the question, and you wonder what research they've done themselves or how much work they've done on themselves or how much they've really gone within. And you know what, since this was kind of when we were brainstorming earlier about a topic, and this was something that you had brought up, I'd like to get your take on just this whole thing and maybe what spurned in that beautiful mind of yours to come up with such a thing.
Well, I've seen it a lot in the groups, and it just seems to be really prevalent right now. See, we're not. It's not natural for us to fear, and actually, this is a natural process. What we're going through, this process of going, we're returning back to, like the golden age, like in Egypt, where we were, multi-spiritual beings. We were totally connected. We were way beyond the physical, right? And it should be a natural process, and really things are not complicated. People seem to really complicate things, but especially people that are just newly awakening, of course they're experiencing things that that's unfamiliar to them, and that's what we fear. Like, we fear what we don't know. And if we're going to judge it, because, well, we've been conditioned to judge things, right? Like when we were kids, like I've returned to innocence. So to me, I get really frustrated, but I also have to remind myself that I was there too. God, you remember the phone calls? I'd be calling you freaking right out. But so like for me, I'm able to experience everything now from a non-judgmental point of view. Like one thing that really bothers me is people constantly talking about, you know, the reptilians and the dark side and these shadow people and, you know, dark psychic attacks and implants and possession. And I'm kind of to the point now where I realize, like, okay, if that's your belief system, then that's what you're going to experience. That's what you're going to have in your reality. If you, you know, if you see something, you're conditioned to think, oh my God, that's bad. You know, this is a demon. This is a negative thing. You know, I understand that's what you believe, and it's hard to get out of that, you know, to lose that belief. But this is what the process is. It's we're getting rid of old beliefs, getting rid of our old programming, getting rid of our old, you know, education. We've been taught to fear this. We've been taught to fear that. So I think that, you know, a lot of people that are posting this stuff, you know, about dark things and about, you know, well, this is, you know, just focusing on, you know, then they're just putting more fear into themselves. And so if you're focusing on this and you're, you know, really clinging to this and you're searching, you know, it's like, okay, well, yeah, this is what's happening, this is what's happening, because you don't know, you want to put a, you know, you want to say, okay, yes, this is what it is. It's better, even if it's something horrible, you'd rather label it and know what it is than not know what it is. So it's just really, I try and tell people, like, you know, it's just allow yourself, you know, to experience things without, you know, without judging them, and just, you know, it's sad because people are asking questions, and really, like, the only answers, you know, are within, right? Like with me, you know, my view on research, like, you know, my awakening was really abrupt, and it was really like, bang, I'm awake, and I knew, like, I didn't dive into research. I just intuitively knew not to do that. And in the groups and stuff, like, and I was very limited to what I would, you know, what I would allow myself to be, you know, what I would allow myself to read or what I would allow myself to be exposed to, because this is a process of really figuring things out for yourself. And there's just too much misinformation and too much fear out there. People are just, you know, asking questions, and there's so many people that are so quick to say, oh, well, this is what it is, and then all of a sudden, bang, that's what it is, and that's their reality. And, you know, that's sad.
Yeah, yeah. You know, not to interrupt you there for a minute, but I think that's one of the things that really drives me nuts too with a lot of the posts is the doom and gloom and the fear and the, oh my God, this is going to happen, and oh my God, Russia's going to attack Ukraine, and oh my God, we're going to attack Russia, and or just, oh, the aliens are they're demons, they're fallen angels, and you get the feeling that it's not necessarily that maybe some of that isn't true, but the fact that part of it that drives me nuts is that I feel and get the impression that they're conquered by fear. And why not, like you said, just kind of let it flow, take it as it comes in every now moment, and go from there and use your own discernment. I mean, maybe, you know, there could be something really fearful, but maybe you might find something out of it that resonates with you, one little thing. And maybe something really great, you find something out of it that don't resonate with you. So fuck it, what resonates with you, and move on. I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, you know the way I see it, and I mean, I'm really, like, really blunt, and I'm really to the point, and I think some people kind of find me a little bit abrasive, but, you know, someone will mention something and say, oh, well, this is what, you know, and I'll say, like, with me, the way I see it is, okay, I'm at the point in my life where I don't tolerate bullshit from anybody. From nobody. Like, don't screw with me. That goes for any kind of, if you want to label them lower, you know, entities or negative beings or whatever. You know what? I just won't deal with bullshit. I don't care who you are, you know, or what you are. I mean, we're so much more powerful than, you know, than we realize, and we really do. Like, because I don't allow it into my life. I've seen a lot of shit that should have really freaked, you know, that would freak most people out. And to me, it's just kind of, well, it is what it is. I don't see things or, you know, experience things as good or bad. I mean, I just, it just, things are just what they are. And we really, we have the power. Like, what we focus on is what is what our reality is going to be. So, and that's really powerful in itself, because, if you believe, if you believe that you're being attacked, or if you believe that you have an implant, or if you believe that you're being, then you will be. I don't really know how else to, to put that, but just realize, you're powerful. You're a creator. You decide what you allow into your reality, and it's a process. But I mean, once you get that, it's awesome. It's a process to get to that point, right? But we're all rediscovering our own power. So I mean, just always go within and be really careful about not absorbing other people, or going by other people's experiences. Open yourself up to experience fresh, new, so that everything, so you don't judge anything. They're your experiences, not everyone else's. I mean, we're all on the same path, but we're all going to have different, personal experiences that may be similar, but we're all going to have, different, right?
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. And when I first had my awakening, I had a lot of fearful, scary nights. Mine dragged out quite a bit longer than yours has. I mean, you kind of got the crash course, the year class. I had mine over a 3-year period, 2 of which I knew nothing of any of these groups on Facebook, except my own little one that I had, the Fringe Thinkers. But but at the same time, I tried to remain in my zone and stay within myself and not get caught up in, well, this is good, this is bad, the Greys, the reptilians, they're coming after me, all that. I mean, I looked at it this way: if they were going to come after me, I had the mentality of, we'll bring it on. Yeah. We'll bring it on. And then I realized that if I would have just calmed down, relaxed a little bit, maybe did a little bit of meditation to liking, things would have been a little bit better during that first 6 months of the awakening, so-called. I don't like to use labels. You know how we both hate labels, but I mean, what else can you call it but kind of an awakening from the life that you were in at that time? People will post like, well, Hollywood's coming out with all these new movies, and all these stories that are coming out, the aliens are coming to get us, and it's just these fear games. But it doesn't even matter what anybody's putting out, right? It doesn't matter. It's about who buys into it. And if you buy into it, like you said a little bit ago, if you buy into it, well, that's going to be your reality. If you get scared of shadow beings and not necessarily try to understand what things like that, understanding each other, we fear. We're conditioned to fear what we don't know. So we just assume. It's like, here's one of my favorite lines, not to get off track. Here's one of my favorite lines from Americans about the Middle East. Oh, those people over there have been fighting for thousands of years, and it'll never stop. Well, for one, how do they even know what the hell's going on over there except from what their state-run media is telling them over here? 2, we've been fighting for God knows how long over here, and what would make them think that they were any kind of a different breed of creature? Or it's just really ridiculous. And who cares? We could get into, well, we're kept thinking that way by the governments and whatnot, but it doesn't matter. We are the people. We are our own governments, and we are our own personal guru and personal government, and we can figure this thing out on our own. And there's research out there. There's plenty of research, whether it's good or bad. YouTube you can use your discernment. Like I said, it's about what resonates with you. Some of it may resonate with you, some of it may not. You might find a document where it all does, and some where it all doesn't, and all points in between. And so I just think that really people need to look within. We use the comment a lot, go within. But they've got their own research to do. And yes, there are plenty of people out there if you want to ask questions to, but don't get hung up on the question you're asking, or necessarily the person who told you what you heard. Like I've said before, it doesn't matter who said what. It's about the message, not the message. Energy that I can't see from the coast here. But yeah, I totally agree. And I just wish people would learn to go in and, look at that and don't succumb to the fear. And there's a big support system of people and documents out there for them to read. But people too often, too easily get stuck in the fear. I mean, think about it, really. What's the worst thing that could happen? I mean, they're going to come eat you. They're going to come from trillions of miles away and rape you, use you for slavery. I mean, really, what could be so bad, right? Check this out, and I'll throw it back to you, Toomsy Woomsy. What could be so bad that would be much worse than the hell we've had encountered here already, you know?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Well, another thing that really gets me that I've actually come across a lot is people asking about awakening or activating their kundalini. Their, that's your life force. That's your spirit. That's your, your essence. That's your being, right? Your spiritual being. And I've heard too many people tell people that are, just starting out or whatever, say, oh, well, you have to go to a guru, and this guru will awaken your kundalini for you. You have to do this, and it's like, are you fucking serious? Like, that's your energy. That's your, that's your soul. That's pretty powerful. And just to have that belief out there still, and people out there talking about this, that you have to go outside of yourself so someone can activate your energy. It's like, I don't understand that. I still kind of, and that makes me so angry when I hear people say that, because, I mean, it doesn't really make me angry. It just makes me frustrated, because, I mean, nobody can do that but yourself. And that's what we're getting away from, is handing our power. I mean, look how long we've been powerless for. I mean, I know personally, I was powerless for most of my life. I didn't, I was abused, I was controlled, I was, I was just absolutely powerless. And I went outside myself for everything that I needed. And it's kind of like we're discovering our own power again, so that, there's still people out there that believe that you have to go to someone else, and that other, that person has control. That's just feeding into the old crap that we have to move away from.
You mean you don't think you have to do telekinesis in a circle with your arms and legs crossed for 18 hours a day to have your chakras or kundalini activated? Is that on me? No. I know, you listen to what a guru or what an advisor tells you, and if the tone is, you have to do this, you must do this, well, I would reevaluate who you're listening to, because you can have a great advisor, you can have friends around you, especially in groups that can give you advice on what may have worked for them, but to be told that this is how it's done, I mean, it always kills me when I hear, well, this is how it's done. Well, this is what it is. Well, how in the hell would they know, except for their own limited, very, very narrow consciousness perspective? I'm not saying that to offend anyone or anything. Really, it's the truth. We must look within, and I'm going to keep beating that in. Look within, look within, look within. And wherever you go to look without, whether if it's the internet or a friend on the internet, be very mindful of what you take away from that, and take what resonates with you away from that, and what doesn't, fuck it, leave it and let it be, Yeah,
but
I just go ahead.
That's not always so easy either, because like, I know for me, I think for everybody, there's things that we pick up throughout our life that are going to really, like, screw us up, that are going to come to the surface at some point. And they could be conscious things. They could be things that we've witnessed and that we're conscious of, or abuse or certain traumatic events or whatever. But then there's also things like, say you were a child and you were sleeping, and maybe your parents were fighting in the next room, or that they were fighting or whatever. You were asleep. You weren't conscious of it, but yet you were exposed to this. So that's gonna stick with you. That's gonna stick with you, and that's gonna come up, and that's gonna be a fear, or that's gonna be anxiety, or that's gonna be a problem that has to be resolved in the future. So even you have to be so careful. I mean, yeah, you can research all you want, and you can decide, okay, I'll just use my discernment, and if this, whatever resonates with me, I'll keep, and the rest I won't. Well, be very careful of that too, because when you're feeding into this stuff and researching this stuff, it's not always easy to just take what resonates with you, because there's some shit there that's going to stay with you whether you're conscious of it or not, and then bang, more fear.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think that I say that because it's so easy for me to say that, because when I was doing, a little bit of what research I did on the Pleiadians, when I first started to come into my initial contacts with them, I would I was drawn, I had the privilege of being drawn to shit that would really resonate with me. Yet I know that there are so many documents out there, there's so many books out there, so many articles, that it's just so mind-numbing, and it's like almost like, well, where do I start? I could understand that, I can see that, and it's like, okay, where do I go? Where do I start? And you hit a good point on the nail about, maybe when we were younger, we might have heard our parents arguing or fighting in the next room, right? We may have been asleep. I mean, in the times we didn't hear it, we may have been asleep, and it just fed into our consciousness, and that's old energy that we declare as well, and past lives as well. That's a big one too. While I'm on it, I wanted to bring up is because a lot of this stuff, Raquel, is past life clearing, or parallel life clearing, and so it's just one of those things like that. That I guess the best advice I ever give people is to, in every now moment you're in, use no judgment whatsoever, but always use your bullshit detector, keep it on high, and use your ultimate discernment. And that way you can go now moment by now moment, and just, we're all on this journey, and nobody's got the complete answer yet. It's just that, all we can do is go from there.
Well, excuse me. Yeah, a lot of people are overcome by great amounts of sadness right now, and they're not understanding, oh my God, like, where is this sadness coming from? We're being purged, right? Like, we're exiting karma, which will be obviously another show because it's a huge topic, but so whether we're, everything, all the pain, all the hurt, all the trauma in this lifetime is all coming to the surface now to be released so that we can ascend. We have to leave all that stuff behind. But there's also, there's also all the pain, all the trauma of the entire timeline of our soul is being purged as well. So there are times when we're going to feel overcome with sadness, and we're going to think, well, wait a minute, what the hell am I sad about? Like, I don't understand. And a lot of people are really beating themselves up about that because they're trying to pinpoint it. They're trying to say, okay, well, shit, well, why am I crying? Why am I sad? You know what? Like this, that's what's happened. This is the hardest thing that, this is the hardest and most painful but most beautiful process, and it's don't beat yourself up. Like, if you're gonna cry. Like, that's a lot of people too are kind of saying, okay, well, gee, I'm not sleeping much, or I'm eating more than usual, or I'm not eating as much, or I should be eating. It's like, you know what? Throw the should-haves and would-haves, and says who, right? Like, if you're sad, cry, release it. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Just let it go, right? Don't be ashamed about it. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to release it. You're supposed to release it. It has to be released. If you're not sleeping, oh well, just, we've been conditioned that we're supposed to eat at certain times, we're supposed to sleep at certain times, we're supposed to, eat certain things, or we're supposed to sleep for this long, or we're supposed to do, it's kind of like, screw that. Like, when you're tired, relax and sleep. If when you're hungry, eat. Your body knows what to do. Everything, you just gotta really, like, I know, like, saying, just trust in the process, but really it's just kind of like, you got to have faith, and you got to trust, and it's just, don't just be easy, be really gentle with yourself, and be really loving with yourself, because most of us really haven't loved ourselves. Being empaths and stuff, we've loved everyone else, and it's so easy to take care of everyone else. But when it comes to really taking care and truly nurturing and loving ourselves, a lot of us that's foreign to us. But that's, like, absolutely essential right now. Like, this is, don't beat yourself up, give yourself a break, and really, really take good care of yourself. Like, just, do what you need to do right now, right? Don't beat yourself up about anything. Don't worry so much. Everything's cool.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And you mentioned the empath thing. I think that a lot of that too is we'll get sad. I know, especially in the last couple of weeks, I found myself just crying for no reason out of the blue. And then you realize, as an empath, though, some of it is that you're taking the energy and the sadness of what's happened to the world, you're taking that on your shoulders. And that's why you're so sad for no reason. You're an empath. You were sent here for a reason, and to be somebody really, really special. And you take the weight of the world on your shoulders like that. I was at the eye doctor yesterday, and I was reading an article while I was waiting there, and reading an article in National Geographic. Excuse me, my dog's slurping on some water right now if you hear any slurping in the background. But I was reading this article about the dinosaurs dying off, and they were talking about how there was all this fire on the earth possibly beforehand, and they had to be, they got to learn to migrate from place to place with the stress of looking for scarce food. And it just made me sad to think that they had to go through that, and so I got caught up in the emotion of that and started tearing up a little bit before I went in to have my eye exam and had to wipe my eyes away. But a lot of this, and somebody very special to me I know told me that with the empath thing, and it made so much sense, we're carrying that weight of the whole world per se on our shoulders. But then we should realize too, we've got a lot of us empaths out there that are in the groups and all together, and there's people out there also absorbing that. So sometimes when, it's not just past life clearing, it's not just parallel life clearing, sometimes it's just a matter of you're carrying that weight on your shoulders. You know what I mean? You're carrying that, literally, that weight of the world on your shoulders.
Well, I used to, ever since I was a little girl, I had a lot of pain in my life, but I never really cried about my own situations or, the abuse that I was going through or, my own pain. I'd lie in bed at night and I'd just cry, and it seemed like it would just be the tears of the whole world. I'd feel the pain of the whole world. But I'm very, I think you just kind of come to a point where you just learn how to kind of deal with that, and you just learn how to kind of block, recognize, okay, wait a minute, is this my pain, or is it, or is this my sadness? I'm kind of at the point where I don't, I've blocked it pretty good. I don't really feel a lot of, pain, but also I can't watch, I don't watch sad, I watch children's movies. I'm really, really, I'm so super sensitive as far as, as what I expose myself to. I can't watch really hardly anything. I watch basically kids movies. I'm careful what I read and stuff. Sure, I don't like to see anyone hurting or, obviously you feel for other people, but, for all of us to reconnect here and now, definitely, in the groups, we're just one big family. So of course, if someone's hurting or whatever, even not even meeting people, in our physical lives, just we feel the energy of everybody. So I know that I've seen it where there's been days where one person has just kind of been, and then it kind of it's like everybody, like a domino type thing. Everybody feels it, right? So if there's a couple people in our family that are, angry, or a couple people in our family that are frustrated or very sad or whatever, we all feel it. We all absolutely feel it. So, yeah, it's definitely not an easy process, but it's wonderful to be there, to be able to support, everybody as well, and everybody coming together. But you just gotta be really careful about what you expose yourself to, and you have to be able to you have to kind of be able to block it, and that kind of goes hand in hand with now truly loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves. Once we start doing that, we're not really picking up as much as other people's, the empath stuff, as other people's pain, because there's so much that we have to bring to the surface and deal with ourselves. So we have to be really careful about that, because right now taking on more than, because this is a full-time, this is a full-time thing about ourselves right now. So taking on things for other people is, I think, it's just going to kind of hinder, the process, right? Because that's what we've always done. So just, just kind of check yourself and just be cautious and just be mindful, and just make sure that you take the time to for yourself, and just kind of just figure out, okay, wait a minute, this is this is not my shit, so I can't deal with it right now. It's okay not to. You can shut it off.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I like what you said about how sometimes the moods in the group, isn't it interesting? And I've thought that a lot too. Well, I don't know if I've thought it a lot, but it sure seems to be the case now that you mentioned it. If it seems to be almost like some days we're in a collective mood in the groups, whether it's completely flying high or whether it's just kind of a melancholy day, or just kind of everybody's in kind of a weird, goofy mood, or whatnot, or something to that nature. But it certainly seems like it sure has an effect. You know what I mean? And so that would really make sense as to why we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders as empaths. And I like what you said about the movies too. I was just mentioning that actually last night or the other night. Sif and I were talking about that, about the movies. There's certain movies that we don't want to watch and can't watch. You know, I prefer, and I have since I was a young kid, I've got to tell you, since I was really little, I prefer comedy movies, okay, as far as movies go, because I didn't have to deal with that sadness, that tragic, that heartbreak, mom and dad saying up, somebody killed, somebody being tortured. And you know what? I didn't have but a lonely only child, and at the same time, I always felt sad. I always felt sad, so now that I realize that it had to have probably come from another lifetime, why I felt that feeling, but you know, it's just like that. It's just I want to put myself in a position, not that I'm trying to avoid it. I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm watching the news and something sad's going on or a movie, because you know what? I know that. I've been there. I've done it. I realize it. And it's not about trying to ignore what's going on. It's just all that does is feed into a lower vibration, I think, anyway.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I mean, okay, for one thing, you know, people like if you're out in public or whatever and you see someone hurting, you know, so some people are like they think, okay, well, avoid the negative. Well, these people just have their fucking heads up their ass and they're just all fucking positive and you know, well, that's not realistic. It's like, well, no, reality is that you have to be very careful and you have to protect yourself because, yeah, there's things that instantly lower your vibration. And violence is one of them. And feeding into, you know, these violent movies and these hate movies and these horror movies and these, you know, seeing terrible things happen. But at the same time, we're aware that there's, you know, shitty things going on in this world and that there's people hurting. I mean, I know I'm the type of person that, you know, when I go out in my life, like wherever I go, if I ever see anyone hurting or if I ever see anyone struggling or, you know, or whatever, I do everything I can in that moment to help, right? So, I mean, you know, that's just, I don't know, I think most of us don't even think. It's just natural to just help other people. So in that aspect, you know, get out there and, you know, do what you can in your community, do what you can, you know, for people. But as far as like, you know, in your time, you know, to yourself or whatever, in your time, like just, you know, watching movies and watching the news and, you know, seeing terribly sad things or violent things or seeing people suffer, that's just going to, why that extra sadness? Like that just horrifies me because, you know, there's too much of that going on in society as it is. So why the hell would we pay to go see movies and stuff where we're just, you know, watching that? I mean, I think that's ridiculous.
Well, because I think one thing too is on the movie note, you're right. I mean, once we know it, why keep going back and watching it per se on news? You know, oh well, this is Dan Rather from somewhere bullshit in the Middle East tonight. This and this and this happened, or whatever. This and this happened. Well, we know that this goes on. So why is it that we want to keep watching it? Is it because we get this fear tactic, like we get this fear thought that this could be happening to us? Or is it too, like with the movies, you know, like you touched on, is it that we're looking for some big hero? We're looking for some big hero or some heroes to come save the day. We're looking for some aliens to come to help us from outer space. We're looking for He-Man, Superman, Spider-Man, whatever man you could possibly even dream to hallucinate, to imagine. And why do that? Because it is, and again, here's another Rock and Larry Locken cliche, it is within. And why, to me, that seems to be the case, why these people want to keep watching it over and over and over and over again. Like people, like I had an ex-wife that all she wanted to do was watch the Saw movies over and over and over again, and Friday the 13th over and over again, and whatever, if that's your bag and you like that, fine. But I find that people that are into sitting and watching those more than once and time and time and time and time again, they get conditioned to just thinking, oh, that's nothing. Or the people that like watching the real blood and guts, like fight 'em up, shoot 'em up, war type of movies, right? They're looking for a hero, when in reality that hero should be inside of them and should be inside of all of us. That's kind of the way I look at that. It really drives me crazy, and that's just my observation on the whole thing as far as that goes.
Well, absolutely. We're the ones we've been waiting for. Sorry, I'm just buzzing here. All of a sudden, I just got this like harsh, and it's not from drugs.
And
no
drugs.
No, it's my spidey senses tingling. It's my superhuman abilities. But no, like that's another thing. Where like at the beginning of my process, my son's like, "Mom, what the hell are you turning into, a superhuman?" And it's kind of like, yeah, we are, because we're discovering our own power, and we're rediscovering our own power, getting back to our own power, and it's nobody, and also nobody's coming to save us. We are the ones that are saving ourselves, right? Like, there's still people out there that are saying, okay, well, look busy, Jesus is coming, or or the aliens are coming to save us. No, we have so much support in the higher dimensions, in different realms. We have so much support, and they're so close to us at all the time. But it's just like like with me, with my son. You have children, and you want to, like, of course you'd love them so much, you'd want to jump in there and prevent them, or do things for them, or fix things for them, or prevent them from getting hurt. But realistically, you can't do that, because they have to. That's the way they learn, and that's the way they grow, is to experience the shitty things, to experience the pain, and to kind of save themselves and to rise above it, right? So for anyone, like, I do see a lot out there that people are thinking, oh, well, yeah, the aliens are coming down to save the world. It's like, no, we're here. We're here. We're the ones we've been waiting for. We've got this. We're doing this. And yeah, we've got help, but it's all up to us now. Save the cheerleader, save the world.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and when you talk about the dimensionals that are here to help us, in the higher dimensionals, they are here. They've always been here. They've never gone anywhere. It's just that what's happening, though, as we awaken more as a collective, per se, the veil is thinning to having more access to that. That doesn't mean that they're here to save things for us. They're here to guide, and it's part of this lesson here. They're not here to save everything for us. They may be here to kick in about 10% of the way, but at least 90% of the work is up to us, and we are who we've been waiting for. It's not going to it's not going to drop from the sky. It's not going to come up from the ground. It's not Obama. It's not Martin. It's not Putin. It's not, any of these people. It's going to come from within as a collective. And the more we open up as a collective and start vibing together, we do in the groups. And that should just go to show a person right there, like we had mentioned, the moods, different moods dictating the whole environment of a group one day. That shows right there, if anything else, the power, or if nothing else, the power that we possess. Do this. And this is not some raw speech I'm trying to give people, but it's true. And I think the proof is really in the pudding. Go take a look at the mood in a group one particular day, and then you'll hear of a bunch of people commenting on the same thing. Boy, the energy seems weird today. Boy, it's just, I'm kind of in a funk today. Just, and it just on and on and on down the line. And you get a collective kind of an agreement on this. I'm talking to various people. When you're talking to various people that necessarily aren't talking to each other, or maybe they are in some cases, but, the proof is really in the pudding, and I think we've seen it time and time and time again, and almost on a daily basis.
Well, yeah, we certainly do, and it's really amazing because even though this is a solitary process, like, I know for me, it's well, for everybody, it's a solitary process in our physical lives, and we're all kind of working as one, and we're all feeling each other, and we're all experiencing very similar things, and we're all feeling similar things. We're basically all kind of becoming, there's hundreds of thousands of people around the world that are becoming, multidimensional beings in their own living rooms. I mean, it's truly outstanding. It's really amazing when you think about it. And And you know, I know, like we were talking before, like I know one day, you know, we'll all be together in the physical, but you know, for now, it's just you know, it's everybody, you know, it's a very solitary thing, and you really got to take you know, a lot of time, like you take a lot of time to figure things out, because this process is a really difficult one, and you really got to, you know, focus on you right now, but at the same time, to have this, you know, reconnecting with soul family, and to have all these, you know, beautiful people that we truly vibe with, like we're all kind of, you know, in sync. I know that like with me and Sif today, I think it was, yeah, with me and Sif today, I posted a picture of my son on my page, and someone made a comment and about him being beautiful, and I said, well, he's got a really beautiful soul too, and there was no, you know, just as I was commenting that, Sif popped in and said, well, I can see he's got a beautiful, you know, exactly the same comment that I was making at exactly the same time, and it's like bang there, and I see that all the time in the groups, like we're really, really becoming one. It's really amazing.
No, it really is. It's just phenomenal, and it's a lonely, you know, like you said, this can be a solitary, lonely process at times. But luckily, we have the groups now, because I think a lot of us grew up, and the sad thing was we didn't really know what the hell was missing, or that something was missing, or could even fathom to think what it possibly could be. So there was that angst like that. And when a lot of us found these groups, okay, there was that first initial excitement of, well, all these people I'm connected with, but yet in the sadness comes of, okay, well, we're not quite all together yet in a physical form. But I think this is all a process of working towards that. And that's what I think is so wonderful and so great. And this will help open up the collective to something maybe like in the next decade or so, interdimensional travel, where it's really easy to travel from continent to continent and city to city with almost a blink of an eye. And I mean, these are the kind of things that the collective can spurn together. When we're ready for that kind of technology, it'll be given to us through consciousness, you know, do things like that, and it'll just happen. We'll just start meeting like that, and that's the way it'll go. And by the way, when I was going off about the different world leaders and presidents, I meant to say Harper, not Martin. I was reading to Canada. I said Martin, but I meant Stephen Harper. Not that he's anybody to remember, but anyway. So yeah, I mean, I just think it's wonderful, and people need to realize that this is a process. It's not going to be a series of, well, it is a series. It's not going to be a situation where, okay, this blood moon happens, and okay, well, that's it. That's the big event. Or this ascension date happens, and oh, well, that's the big event. Or, you know, this or that, or this date and that date, and fuck, man, I'll tell you what, it can give you a headache when you look at so many of them. And but at the same time, most of these are all important steps. They're all important steps along the way to what we're trying to achieve, right? People, I think, get so hung up on, well, this is it. This is the big shebang. It's all going down right now. Well, what's all going down right now? It's all going down every day. It's going down every second. It's not like this big thing can happen. The sky is going to in other Star Federation ships that are up there. The people that are consciousness and ready are seeing them right now, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, they're slowly appearing to not disturb the rest of the collective. They're slowly over this period of time becoming more visible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, I've heard dates put out there from, you know, from my guides that, you know, 10, 15 years from now, there would possibly come a time where they had to break the free will agreement and just show up if things got really that bad and we were close to solving this thing for ourselves. Okay, that could happen, but in the meantime, it's just a matter of the collective waking up as a whole and, you know, and moving there and getting there. And I think what's going to end up happening is, you know, officials are going to have to be forced to announce the truth. I mean, things are going to come out slowly. There's not going to be this one big shebang. And I know people, I know it depresses you, because believe me, I would love to be wrong. I would so love to be wrong on this. I would love to have everything I've been told be wrong, or that I have gotten through consciousness be wrong, and for this to be, or for there just to be this big one pop, and there's the date, and there it's done. But then again, too, we have the power of as a collective. If we wake up quick and accelerate this quicker and quicker, which it is, I mean, that could happen. We could find ourselves waking up one day and it just changed over. But chances are it's going to continue to be this slow process of different dates, of different blood moons, of different super moons, of this and that, and everything you could ever dream to hallucinate to fathom happening.
Well,
you know
I
what
think
I'm saying?
you know what I'm saying, for shizzle and nizzle. Yeah, well, you know, look at the date, December. What was it? December 24th, 2012. You know, look at all the end of the world and everything. You know, everything. Like everybody was all like, "Oh my God, the world's gonna end." Well, basically, you know, what that was signaling. Like it was kind of like they knew back then. The Mayans, the Egyptians, they all knew that. You know, there was a golden age in the Egyptian days. There was, you know, the golden age where people had 365 senses, not 5 senses, 365 senses. You know, they were purely like major spiritual beings. And then over time, we kind of descended into the dark ages. And then we kind of went back up again. Now, 2012 marked the point of the beginning of another golden age, I believe, and a golden age where we're going back to having all those senses. So a lot of people too right now are experiencing a lot of noises that they're hearing, a lot of like you know, shadows whipping by. They're seeing, you know, they're experiencing so much, and that's causing a lot of fear too, because we are becoming multidimensional beings. We're going to be, the veil is getting thinner and thinner, so we're going to hear the sounds, we're going to even smell the smells, see the sights of, you know, of other dimensions, and that could be anything from you know, shadows moving by out of the corner of your eye. That could be objects that maybe all of a sudden disappear and appear in a different place. That could be, you know, I mean, I've been sitting here before and I've heard my mom come in the door, and I'm like, "Mom," and she's not there, and like 10 minutes later she actually comes in. So that's a major adjustment, and that's scary because you know, and especially having these old, you know, this old thinking that of the dark shadow people and stuff. I mean, of course you're going to associate it with that because that's what you know. You've seen the scary movies of the boogeyman, and you've seen the, you know, the dark shadow people or whatever. And so if you can't explain what's going on, these shadows that you see zipping by, or, you know, maybe, you know, like out of the corner of your eye, or things that go bump in the night, you're going to freak right out because you already have an idea of what that is. That's what you believe, you know, that's what you're programmed to believe. But that's not what it is. The dimensions are merging. We're experiencing more than just this dimension. So it's a hell of a process. And yeah, there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear. But you just got to remember, you know, this is happening not just to you. This is happening everywhere. Like just so many people, to all of us. We're all experiencing these things, and it's an adjustment. You just gotta, you know, it takes a while to adjust to it, but you are going to be hearing things, and you are going to be seeing things and experiencing things that you can't explain. So don't try and explain it. Don't try and figure things out with your logical mind. Just go by feeling. You know, like just allow you know, stay in your heart space, and just, you know, keep your vibrations up, and just stay in love, right? Love is the opposite of fear, right? Like when you're loving, and you're kind of open to allow yourself to experience. Don't judge them, just experience it. Otherwise, if you sit there and you process things in your mind and you get stuck in that trap in your mind, and then the fear builds up, and you're going to drive yourself nuts. So just allow yourself to lose your mind, because sometimes you just got to lose it before you know, get in your heart, get out of your mind and into your heart.
Wow, you said a lot of great things there. Let me try to go through those real quick because I had some thoughts here. I should have been taking notes. But okay, as far as seeing things out of the corner of your eyes and things of that nature, basically your peripheral vision is a lot better into seeing into the other dimensions than your eyes are, than just your regular vision. Okay, so that's one. So I like your point on 2012. Excuse you.
Sorry?
So I like your point on 2012. Now, as far as that goes, okay, the only dates that the Pleiadians have ever given me, and sure as hell after they had, I heard some a channeling that's a real inspiration to me, the Cryon channelings. I've been listening to them for years, but basically, okay, after 2012, we're kind of in this time period now, right, of no time basically, but what we're in is we're in this scenario where all these parallel realities and parallel dimensions are coming together. And basically all that was, according to them, was there's a 36-year galactic shift approximately, and about halfway through it was 2012. If we made it through that, chances are we made it to solving this thing. But what we went into was like no time, but yet kind of an 18-year, give or take, window of figuring this thing out and putting it into motion before the galactics, came in and helped out. But the quicker that we awaken as a collective, the more and more that we come together and work together. And I really, truly do believe 2015 will be the year of the collective. I truly believe the quicker this will happen. But everything that I have that resonates with me, that I've gotten through my own, well, I don't call it channelings because I get it through telepathic kind of conversation with them while I'm awake. But from everything that's happening, what I've heard and what I saw and read and all that, that's what's going on right now. And I really, again, like what you said about the peripheral vision, because you're seeing into other dimensions, the thins, you're going to hear all these sounds right now. Some of these sounds are the earth ascending. Some of these sounds could very well be, and not to make everybody paranoid, could very well be things like HARP on Earth, weather modulation systems. Okay, but a lot of this, like in Raquel, we've talked about before, and I know Sif and I have too, is that these things are, you're tuning into different frequencies out there in the universe, okay? And the ones that you hear stronger, per se, maybe your soul collective, your particular soul collective star family. We all have a star family, but your particular soul collective of them, it might be them trying to contact you. So there's all these things that play into all these sounds that are going on right now, and people, they're going to do nothing but intensify. I can tell you that right now. These things are going to intensify for you if you're not used to having them. So you just need to kind of stay grounded and stay in your zone and just try to discern on what you're hearing, because it's all those things that I mentioned probably.
Well, and also, we're also becoming okay, just think about it. For so long, we were asleep, and our hearing, okay, once we awaken, our tastes change, as far as our food, our music, our movies, everything changes about us, right? But physically, our eyesight, we are about the capacity to see light now. We can see like millions of rays of light coming off our headlights. You can't drive at night. Auras around street light. Millions of rays from the sun. You can manipulate the lights. You can interact with any light source, and so it's not only our vision that's getting much clearer, not just to other dimensions, but our vision is actually, as far as my capacity, at least my capacity to see light is amazing. Interact with light, like I said, I'm like screwed up. If I could never drive at night. There's no way. But then also my hearing is so acute. I can hear people in, like, Janice lives, I live on the 3rd floor. She lives way in the other wing of the building on the 1st floor. But I can hear her talking inside her suite. I can hear my neighbors. I can hear my neighbor's vacuum cleaner. I can hear the woman across the street. I mean, basically, I can hear people's water run. My hearing is super, super acute. Also, my sense of smell. My sense of smell is just, oh my God, and I live in an apartment, so, when people cook certain or meat or whatever, because I'm so, not into meat anymore, but my sense of smell is so, it's a really dirty, stinky, noisy place down here, right? So, with our bodies, with the physical evolution of our bodies, and, our ascending in the physical, all of our senses are heightened now. So yeah, that includes even feelings on our skin, and our smells, and our tastes, and our hearing, and our vision. So it's it's like having superpowers. It almost is, right? So that's quite often, I know that at the beginning of my process, or maybe a couple months into it, there was maybe about for a week stretch, I could hear all the planes in the sky. And it was just, oh my, it was like I was in a war zone. It was so loud, and it just constant, nonstop. I thought I was going to go crazy. But I think it's like right now is a major like adjustment period, because you're adjusting to this, and it's just almost like when I was, when you're a child, right? When you're first born, everything's really bright and everything's really loud, and the energy on you, the fabric on your skin and your palms, you can feel the energy shooting in your palms and your feet, and your body's changing and growing, and sensory overload. And I know I'm experiencing that, and a lot of people are experiencing that. So it's basically just kind of like, don't freak out. Like, it's irritating, yeah, but there's different ways you can learn to kind of, block it out. Different ways, listen to music, or go out for a walk, or do some grounding, or dance, or any of that stuff to kind of distract from the sensory overload or whatever. If you put your focus on something pleasurable, like I know for me, when I listen to music, I become the music. Like and the physical part of ascension, the physical changes are really hard to deal with, and so there's days where I'll sit here and I'll be like, oh my God, I'm in pain, and oh, I can't stand this, and I dwell, and I get really bitchy, and it's like I just want to lie, I'm done. That's it. I'm done. I refuse to evolve. I'm just gonna lie down and I'm done. But as soon as I do something like put music on, it's like instant bang. Like I become the music, and it's so pleasurable. But there's often times where I just choose to just sit here and be miserable. It's ridiculous. So really, like there's quick ways to raise your vibrations and make things pleasurable. Music is definitely one of them. Laughter, the new Pleiadian humor whatever group is so awesome. Laughter, hugging someone, playing with an animal, hugging a tree, creating, all that kind of stuff. Like those are quick fixes to just, raise your vibrations and make it more, make it pleasurable. Because really, it's your choice if you want to dwell. If you want to dwell and suffer, whatever, just spend the time. You get a time out and dwell and suffer. But as soon as you want to be happy again, it's really easy to do. At least it's kind of a choice for me, and sometimes I choose just not to be. I just choose to sit here and be miserable, I guess, because I'm used to it. So that's a major adjustment too. It's learning to be happy.
Yeah, no question about it. And you mentioned the Pleiadian humor group that was just created the other day, and much kudos to Derek and Bridget for that. That's wonderful, and it's really taken off like wildfire, so to speak, and I'm really grateful to them for creating that group. So you were talking about the light rays coming off of everything. Wow, that's one big part of when this started for me too, is everything was just lights would magnify like through a window. I'd see like 3 different versions of that particular light come at me. Or the moon, same thing when I look at the moon through the window, and the sun as well, and the rays off of everything. It doesn't matter whether it's a headlight, whether it's a tail light, whether it's a light in your house, whether it's the sunlight, the moonlight, even a nice cold bed light. Well, not quite that, but it's just everywhere. And I think that people that are awakening, they seem to see that, and it's that acuteness. It's hearing that running water, maybe in an apartment next door. And maybe even not so much even hearing it right. A lot of us will hear the vibration of it. Like I would describe these things I was hearing when I first was awakening as kind of late at night, especially between about 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. in the morning. I would hear that noise you and I had always talked about hearing, but I would hear it. It was almost like it was a cross between a sound and a vibration, but not either. I couldn't quite put it as a sound. I couldn't quite put it as just something vibrating. It was like a cross between the two. And, and that's just kind of how it goes. And I think basically bottom line is we're all in this together, and use your own discernment. And, I hope people have gotten something out of our chat tonight.
How awesome.
Is there anything else that you wanted to... I'm sorry, hon. Was there anything else you wanted to add, or?
Yeah, I'm just like so like it's just I love you guys all so much. I'm such a big wimp, but no, like you guys are like just like so you guys are just so amazing. Like the love is just overwhelming. Like I've met re-met or reconnected with the most beautiful people, and it's just like, for so long, you know, I felt so alone, and I felt so unloved and even unlovable, you know, and that's something, you know, we all have in common. We've all been through hell. We've all lived and dwelled in hell. It's our time for happiness now, and because we've been through so much, we totally, we get it, and we really are one, and the love is just, you know, just the support and the love is just incredible, and I don't know what I'd do without all of you, and I just love you so much. I wish I could just hug you and squeeze you, because I'd squeeze you so hard right now. Wow, that's it.
Yeah, here, totally. I feel the same way, and I'm just grateful to everybody out there in the groups, and I'm grateful to my star family that I've met through these groups and people that resonate things with me as well. And it feels like on one hand that we all just met yesterday, but on the other hand, it seems like it's been years, even though it's only been a little over a year since I've been in the group. It seems like years, and I think that comes from knowing we all do know each other from somewhere else. So that's a fact right there, and I just want people to keep that in mind, that when you talk about family, you know, you can think about your brother and sister, or, well, of course, I'm an only child. I don't have any brothers or sisters, but your cousins, your aunt, your uncle, your mom and dad. This family is like it's a soul family. It's a soul collective that we're all a part of, okay? There's various offshots of this big soul family, different smaller collectives, but nevertheless, it's all one soul family incarnating here at this time to do a job, and all of you are more loved than you can imagine, including Raquel sometimes, who thinks she's abrasive. She's not, unless she really has to be, like I can be. I don't mind playing the bad guy when I need to. I don't like to, but you know, that's kind of where I came from and how I react to things when things go like that. I don't mind calling somebody out if I have to, or whatever I have to do. But I think that we have established, though, in previous shows that, Raquel, that if people are looking to find you anywhere on Facebook, they can find you on your timeline at Raquel's timeline. Yeah, and they can also find her at Canadian Pleiadian, the Fringe Thinkers, the Pleiadians group, all of them, basically all of them, all the regional groups, Pacific Northwest, but the main one she's an admin for, Pacific Northwest Pleiadians, Canadian Pleiadians, and of course both a member of the new Pleiadian humor group, Raquel, Twin Flame, all the good stuff. So with that being said, Earl, I think I'm going to bid you adieu for the night, and much love. Give everybody a big dating game cosmic kiss out there. Mwah.
Mwah.